he would remember everyone's name. And he's like, if I had one piece of advice for you, because I told him, like, yo, how the fuck do you do this? You come in like once a month, everyone dabs you up because they know you got the bag and you own the building and your son owns the club. And he goes, that's the key to success. You make people feel like they're important and they'll keep coming back. And then he just goes in the back, grabs a fucking burlap cash or bag full of cash and it fucks off. And I was like, holy shit. That principle in our industry is so massive. If you did a side by side of two trainers training at the same rate, the same person, we were just a petri dish, exact same setting. One remembered the small details, right? Dog's name. And how do you teach someone to be a person, right? How do you teach this? It shouldn't have to be taught, but it's been untaught out of people, right? So they need to relearn it or remove the impediments that stop them from learning it.
This is how you unlearn it.
Right. Throw that thing in the fucking river.
Yeah.
But when if you get that piece right, the absolute value that you can charge for training goes through the fucking roof.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's insane. I tell you I just was this in New York, close friend of the show, friend of mine, friend of yours, Don Saladino. There is not a person on this planet. Every time I'm with him, I'm like, dude, you're the best. Like, and I'm not talking about him as a dude, which he is the best. He's a great dude. But like you watch him interact with anyone. Doorman at the fucking hotel. Marcus has to go upstairs and take a shit or something. He could have sold that guy on more than his paycheck's worth of training if he wanted to. The second that door did a full revolution, that doorman was bought into Dawn. Just how are you? Like, just like that, whatever that is that people call intangible is not. Number one, you can learn it. And I've learned a lot from being around him and people like him. But it's like when you look at where you're at now, what you're charging, what do you want to charge? How do you provide value to fill that gap? The biggest opportunity for most people isn't programming, isn't train your spouse, isn't child minding, isn't whatever. It's you as a person. Like, how can you, if you got to go to fucking Toastmasters and learn how to talk, like, cool, understand that as an opportunity. But because you see people and it frustrates the purest trainer. It frustrates the guys and girls who are really good at their job because you get these these smooth talking, and I don't want to say smooth talking. You get people who are just good at communication, who pay attention to communication in all of its facets,
right?
Who might not be as well versed in the X's and O's. And the purest trainer gets mad. Oh, I hate that guy. It's like, no, you don't. You hate the fact that you can't do that. You hate that he makes more money than you, but he doesn't know what an Anconius is, and because he doesn't. But you don't know the fucking your client's dog's name, right? So that to me, if you're heading into next year, and it's part and parcel to every problem you have. You're the problem. Sorry, you're the problem, and that is I think most trainers' biggest opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I can't argue that. I think that's dead on, dude. Like, if you can improve the way that you communicate, period, you're going to be better at everything in life. Like, I fully believe that, and I stand behind it. And that's like, yes, in business, absolutely, but like just in terms of like stress management and understanding like where your stress is coming from, I think is a big one, because like I think most people have trouble communicating because they don't understand the things that they want to communicate. Right. And in this situation, it's like, okay, like new client, all right, I want to, I don't know, what do I do? What the fuck do I do? But like, I think it becomes really apparent if you are actually communicating with someone, like you literally just match their energy and you just ask them questions, listen to the answer, and then share information about yourself with them, because you need to get a foothold somewhere. Like that's all it is. Once you learn something about someone, and the more important things are going to filter out to the top, because I'm not going to like, I don't know, tell someone, I don't know, just dumb shit that I do. Like, oh yeah, I every morning I like to wake up at 6:30 and then I turn on the kettle while I brush my teeth so I can make my coffee. Like, it's not dumb shit like that. It's like, oh yeah, like I work out, like I like to travel a bit, like I don't know, shit like that. Like, and then you start to ask questions about the information they give you, because there are obviously things that are important to that person. But I think like one of the principles I've kind of held myself to my entire training career is whenever I have a client come in, just be more excited to see them than they are to see you. And that like forces them, like, oh, like he's excited, like be that. Like, if there's a discrepancy in energy, be the energy you want in the room. And like if you can set that tone, then that's going to be something that's going to carry with them. It's like very rare that you're excited to see someone there's like yeah, whatever. Like they're just going to stay in a mellow mood. And like you set the tone for the session by that shit. And like if they don't have anything like that they want to share with you, like just share something with them. Like tell them something you're excited about and then set the tone for the session in that way. It's like, hey, like no, we're having a good time here, even if I have to be the good time, because that's what they're paying you for, is not fucking think about their kids at home or their boss at work. Like I think that's the biggest thing that's been helpful for me because I'm not particularly a social person. Like I don't like to have unnecessary conversations a lot of times. But when you're on the clock, that doesn't fucking matter. Like people are paying you for your time, so you better show up, even if you have to put on a show for them. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, there's a performance art to a session that's has
Yeah,
to be there. Like, and it's not disingenuous. It's doing them a service because, like you said, like there's a difference between listening and understanding. And this is where when you dive into like what because talking isn't communicating. It's a part of communicating. It's a
right.
very small part of communicating. It is like the smallest technically. I think it's like 7% of communication is verbal language or written language. So it's like attention is the whole game. Attention is the difference between learning and understanding or listening and understanding. Right. So like if you can listen, but if you're not paying attention, you're not in the communication game
Yeah.
because so much of what they're not saying with with just the words out of their mouth. Like, you know, you can't really communicate with Stephen Hawkins because the computer that talks for him when he talks into his shoulder or however that thing works sounds the exact same. Right. Like there's not a tonality to it. It's just sort of like AI words before they were AI words. So you can like talk to him, but you can't communicate with him, right?
Mhm.
Because you have no idea. Like I don't think Stephen Hawkins can be sarcastic, right? Because it wouldn't be able to have the tonality and the intention and the body language that would allow you to fill in the gaps to be like, oh, his words are saying this, but the body language is saying this, and together, what he's communicating is sarcastic. So it's like yeah, like dude, you have to be able to put it on. And what on really is attention, right? Like you're paying attention to the fact that this person's low energy and you're like, I'm gonna pull golden retriever off the shelf and I'm just gonna be my tail's gonna be wagging when this guy walks in and that'll bring him up, right? But it's also, I'm sure there's times come in where people are just going through it and that's not what they want, right? They want to, I've sent clients home and that was how we matched the energy. It was like, I'm
Right.
not pulling this guy out of whatever. Like there's not a tail wag in the world. I could dress up like a golden retriever and that would not make some people happy in circumstances that they're in.
Yeah.
Right. But it's like, how do you do that? You just have to pay attention. And I think you kind of, this fucking 6.01 inch rectangle that we all have in our pockets, that's fucking you because you can't pay attention. Like you don't have an attention span to give to someone else to actively be engaged in communication, right? And it's it's a tricky thing to break away from because so many people are trying to move their business online. You are the people I know, and this is not entirely true, but the people I know who tend to do the best with a digital business are unbelievable communicators in real life.
You have to be.
And well, because this mutes you, right? This is going to mute you. And for those of you just listening, I'm holding up my phone. And if you want to watch, go to the YouTube channel. But like this is going to be like a sublinear scaling agent. So it's like if you're a 10, it's going to make you an 8, right? If you're an 8, it's going to make you a 3. If you're a 3, you suck. You're making fucking carousels about the zucchini or something. Like it's just you're just terrible, right? So and the people I see do the best have an in-person component, maybe not in like in the sense that it's a vertical within their business, that maybe they make all of their money online, but they have to stay sharp. They have to get in front of people, and that not only feeds the skill and the craft of writing programs and exercising and being able to know where common faults are and things like that. But what they're really feeding is that they're sharpening that communication tool so
Mhm.
that they don't lose that. They don't they don't miss that step because if they're communicating online, when you create content, it's a conversation. it's tough because you don't have all of the nonverbals, but you have to have enough of those interactions to know how things are going to land with the people who are on the other side of that screen who can't talk to you, but they can communicate,
Yeah.
right? Like a like and a heart or a comment or a share. These are all digital touch points of a conversation that's happening in a very fractionated way that you need to be as sensitive to as, an eyebrow raise or a fucking someone who creates distance from you, crosses their arms, any nonverbal communication you get, there's that's happening if you're sensitive to it. And you only become sensitive to it if you can recognize the glaring ones that happen in real life. Right. And, this is where, when it comes to content creation, like, you have to be able to do it live. Right. So, like, I think speaking for me, it's been the podcast number one, without a doubt, because
Oh,
we were
great.
doing this before we were booking gigs and doing seminars and any of that. This was the first seminar we ever did,
Yeah. Yeah.
was
Before
fucking
online
9 years
coaching was
ago.
really a thing.
What's that?
I said we were doing this before online coaching was really even a thing. And this is like there's two formats that I really like to understand my thoughts. And this is one of them because it's an opportunity to have a conversation about it. And that's the other one. Absolutely. But it's an opportunity to have a conversation and like struggle through your words and kind of form your thoughts around it. And yeah, dude, it's same thing. The second one is this. Like every time we podcast, I scribble down notes. I don't have a notepad that's blank anymore
What the
because
fuck is that?
it's a huge sticky note notepad. Dude, I have no you like nice notebooks and shit like that? I take like scraps of paper.
I know what I'm getting you for
Scraps.
Christmas this year. Parth got me this. Shout out fucking P from India. Look at this. You joking me? Got the rope around it, the
Yeah,
artwork.
that's incredible.
Dog,
That's great.
come on.
Yeah.
This is like au natural paper too. Jorge came through with a Van Gogh Mont Blanc. Forget
Ooh.
about it.
Ooh.
Dude, what are you doing with a rack of shoes and a what?
Yeah, this is how my brain works. This is exactly
No, it's
this is
not.
what my brain looks like if anyone
No,
wants to
no,
see.
your brain is a Mont Blanc. It's a Picasso. Look
No,
at
no,
this.
no, dude.
No, you're refined. Hey, you made it out, dog. You made it out,
Yo,
homie. You can stop living that PA lifestyle. You're out.
yeah, man.
I'm showing up to L3 with a new notebook for you because that's unbelievable. That's how you live your life. You're doing well, dog.
Dude, I know. This is just how my brain works.